Samope, Sampadia, Chimothy, non Kotu, Era One Radio, Samope, Jumpadia, Chimothy, non Kotu, Era One Radio, oh, and you Pamtima, Chinto, Assam Pamtima. The Gratum Era One, the Rebel Yumpankua.
Kosua nati Era One Radio, empenyini say, Yansuma na motenten, yesmo benyasafo, Era One Radio, yedin sem anumwaye Abraham.
All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's another Thursday, and of course, it's the Divine Connection Show. I'm here as your host, Charles Boison, and in the studio with me is the Honorable Reverend Pastor Robert Nisaba Akron and our Uncle Max Baden, all the way from Africa. I think the echoes are gone. All right, so tonight is a very, very solid night. It's election night in the United States, so it's very busy and we're wondering what is going to happen. But before we do, we want to bring you a very quick discussion so we can all go and see what the results has for us tonight. Tonight we're looking at leadership in the midst of crisis. Have you ever been in a crisis before? And if you're a leader, when you are subjected to crisis, what do you do for your people? How do you control the mob? What do you say that will suit your people? Do you just stand and stare, or do you say something that will bring kind of encouragement? Well, before I do, I want to wish my buddy Daniel Biajikum a happy birthday. Today is his birthday. I think it's 21 today. So Dan, a happy birthday to you. All right, so we're looking at applying or displaying your skills in the midst of crisis. We're going to take a scripture as our base from Numbers chapter 13 and 14. We've done that scripture before, but today we are looking at it in a very different perspective as far as this topic is concerned. That is our platform. But before I do, I want to hear from my gentlemen if they have any opening remarks for us. Nisaba?
Yeah. Let Uncle Max have
You want him to have a
go first.
Okay, Uncle Max, you are welcome. Any opening remarks?
Well, I'm living in a country that at the moment seems to be leaderless.
Oh, please.
Which is a rare thing. Because normally you have many people who are vying to become leader of the country. But we have hit a crisis, and the silence from what should be our leadership is deafening, as they say. So I think the topic tonight will be very opposite to what is going on. And maybe hopefully somebody is listening who can convey some of what comes up this evening to our commander-in-chief so that he can do a better job than what's been done so far.
All right, Nisaba.
Well, honestly, yeah, here in the US, it's election night. Things are a bit, call it up in the air. We don't know.
Too close to call.
Which party is going to come out on top, but I hope the Democrats do.
You mean by us?
And then my own country, honestly, yes, it's a tough time for Ghana. But wisdom tells me that sometimes the best oratory is golden silence. Because you look at what is happening, people just saying all kinds of things, as if the coming in of a new leader, whether through a coup or, as Alex Sebefia said, the processes should be activated for immediate election. And I was thinking about it, and I said, do these people really realize what they are asking for? Because it's easy. Ghana has been there before. 79, we had a madman, Rawlings.
Oh, Nisaba, don't go there.
Oh, yeah, I'm going there.
Please.
I'm going there. I mean it. I mean, he look at the sort of anger he displayed, topping it with the execution of soldiers, generals, and then the massacres he unleashed, the lawlessness he unleashed. Did Rawlings leave Ghana in a better state than he met it? So this is what is playing out in my mind.
But you know, some people will still wish that he was still around.
Oh, no. There are people who will, because Rawlings made ne'er-do-wells become the loudest voice in the. You had PDC and NDC, middle school leavers all over, all of a sudden calling the shots, asking technocrats to take a backseat. What did we get out of it? You're getting me? For me, I'm not saying this government is doing a good job, but wisdom is counseling me to see beyond the surface or beneath the surface, if I could. That a new leader is not going to, somebody replacing the current government immediately is not going to be the balm of Gilead we think it will be. We've been there before. History is a guide. So how best can we handle the situation? Is it true that almighty America is going through similar situations? You understand? Is it true that the war in Ukraine is having an effect on global economics? Yes. Is it true that the effects of the pandemic are still being realized? Yes. So I'm not holding brief for them. Yeah, the corrupt are corrupt. And they will be corrupt when a new government comes if we don't find a way to flush them out.
All right, we'll see about that. All right, so tonight, like I said, it's brewing in the United States. Of course, we have elections going on. If you can tell, I did vote this morning, so I am squared away. For me personally, the areas I'm looking at are Georgia, Arizona, and Pennsylvania. Although it's all over, these are the places that I want to really, see what is going on. And if you look at what was projected this morning, 36 out of 50 states are electing governors today. 27 states are electing secretaries of states. And then the 435 House seats are all at stake. 35 senates, 36 governorship are all at stake tonight, like I said earlier. And there are 309 women who are on the ballot tonight. All right, so tonight we're going to use the numbers platform or scenario as our state. And like I said, we are looking at exhibiting good leadership in the midst of crisis. So we'll look at Numbers 13, I'll read from 25 to 33, and then we'll look at 14, 1 to 19, and we'll, take our study from there. Well, on behalf of my CEO and the whole Era One team, I want to welcome you again to Era One broadcast. We are broadcasting live on Facebook, YouTube, and Modern Ghana Radio. The number to call in is 240-280-2633, or if you want to text, it's 510-931-0946. All right. So I'm going to read the scripture, but then let me just tell all of us where we are, and then we'll continue.
Kosuanati Era One Radio, empenyini say, Yensuma na motenten, yesuma benyasafo, Era One Radio, yedin sem anumwaye ebre.
All right, so if you're a leader and your people are experiencing crisis, what do you do? When you get up to speak, what do you tell them? What do you say that will encourage them? We are looking at all this tonight, and we are looking at the story that we've done a few weeks ago concerning the 12 spies who came out with a report. 2 gave a different report, and the 10 also gave their own version of it, but then they all went to the same place. All right, so let me take Numbers chapter 13, verse 25 to 33. All right. And they returned from searching of the land after 40 days. And they went and came to Moses and to Aaron and to all the congregation of the children of Israel unto the wilderness of Paran, to Kadesh, and brought back word unto them and unto the congregation, and showed them the fruit of the land. 27. And they told him and said, We came unto the land whither thou sentest us, and surely it flowed with milk and honey, and this is the fruit of it. Nevertheless, counteracting whatever they said earlier on, the people be strong that dwell in the land, and the cities are walled and very great. And moreover, we saw the children of Anak there. The Amalekites dwell in the land of the south, and the Hittites and the Jebusites and the Amorites dwell in the mountains, and the Canaanites dwell by the sea, and by the coast of Jordan. And Caleb stood the people before Moses and said, Let us go up at once and possess it, for we are well able to overcome it. But the men that went up with him said, We be not able to go up against the people, for they are stronger than we. And they brought up an evil report of the land which they had searched unto the children of Israel, saying, The land through which we have gone to search it is a land that eateth up the inhabitants thereof, and all the people that we saw in it are men of great stature. 33. And there we saw the giants, the sons of Anak, which came of the giants, and we were in our own sight as grasshoppers, and so we were in their sight. Let me finish the 9 and then the 14. Oh, my distance has gone blank. Or I may have to pull it up. But then of course, so 14 has to do with what the people said and then how they battled. All right, so let's go on the discussion real quick. I think my internet is misbehaving a little bit. All right, so we have 12 people who Moses sent to go for this espionage, spying the land, and 10 came with a report, 2 also came, and then the minorities kind of prevail and all that stuff. All right, so Ankama, let's take a twist here. We're going to go into our contemporary study tonight. We're just using it as a base, but I want us to go into this. All right, so Ankama, this is your question. Do presidents prefer writing their own speech, or they would rather somebody write it for them?
I think most presidents have a speechwriter or a team of speechwriters, okay, who will prepare material for them according to the circumstances, and they will do whatever research also is needed so that they can pull out antecedents or precedents, and they can pull out comparisons and what have you. But there should be people who understand the issues and who are able to interpret the parties or the presidents or the parties' general philosophy, in a way that matches the situation at hand, so that it can be molded, modified, adapted, and adopted, and so on, as necessary. So, for a leader to speak and be to carry conviction, he needs to believe in what he's saying. So really, it's a question of ideally finding whatever strands within his manifesto fit the situation, or if the manifesto does not cover the situation, then he needs to find some new strands or modify the manifesto according to what needs to be done. But there has to be flexibility, and there has to be accuracy, there has to be focus, and there has to be conviction.
All right.
What unfortunately we've tended to experience here is that people cut and copy and paste from other people's speeches with no sense of relevance and context, and plagiarism is not a good thing.
All right, thank you very much. Nisaba, if you want to join me, you could, but then let me just follow up and come up with this question. So let's staying on the Pre-Nanado area. The speech that he gave, I'm sure he was being prompted to give a speech to console the nation. Of course, he's the commander-in-chief and consoler-in-chief. So with all the inflation going on, the CD all the way to 14, 15, he was being, hey, come and say something to the people and console them. So he finally comes to say something. The speech that he gave, did he do any good? Did he heal the wounds like Pastor Akonso? Was it the balm of Gilead, or it kind of worsened the situation?
To me, he didn't say very much that was new, which is what was required in this circumstance. And he rather worsened the case by proposing a couple of things which would not be take place in his term. you have an immediate crisis. You don't start talking about 2028 when you will not even be in power, and you have, if you don't have the control of the levers of state, how are you going to ensure something will happen in 2028 when your term ends in 2024? So it just smacks of cobbling something together for the sake of having something to say, rather than a thorough analysis of how have we got where we are, what do we need to change in order to get back on track. We didn't hear any of that. We just heard a rehash, for example, that Bank of Ghana is going to resume its gold purchasing program. Now, the Bank of Ghana has no money. That's why the CD is crashing. So if you're going to say Bank of Ghana is going to start to buy gold, where's that money going to come from? It doesn't make sense. You understand? And it also doesn't address the fact that Ghana starts off owning the gold in the first place. How come we give it away to foreigners and they have to buy it back? So it just made the situation worse, because it demonstrated somebody who did not have a grasp of the urgency of the situation, the exigencies of the situation, the crisis that many Ghanaians are going through. He had no grasp about it. And he just said something for the sake of saying something. He didn't address the core issues. Not only that, you probably are aware that a lot of world leaders have gone to Egypt for this COP27 environmental thing. Now, the United States of America, with 300 and however many million people, they sent 16, a delegation of 16 heads of institution. Ghana sends a delegation of 322. Are we mad? Are we crazy? And it is led by the president who, instead of fighting the crisis he has at home, the environmental degradation from Galamsey and so on and so forth, he is going to drink champagne and laugh with other world leaders in Egypt.
We'll come to that. I think I have that in my question somewhere. We'll come to that because it's kind of a little bit, wide. But Nisaba, we'll come to that. Nisaba, please tell us, what are some of the characteristics a leader has to display in the midst of crisis? If you want to respond to any of what Uncle Mark said, you can do so.
Oh yeah, I agree mostly with Uncle Marx, but it goes to what I said in the first place. Sometimes the most brilliant speech is savage, because it's known that people want to hear what they want to hear, and what they want to hear may not actually reflect reality. You're getting me?
That's true.
So what do you do in such a situation? It's like a catch-22. Whatever you say will not make the situation better. But here was a situation where everybody wanted the president to say something. And obviously he didn't have the grasp of whatever needed to be said. You're getting my point. Now, the other issue is, it's amazing. It's just amazing how we always are comparing these 362, or is it 322 people being shamed? Is it 332?
332, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's nonsensical. It's highly nonsensical. But before I say anything, I want to hear what the justification. Could there be something that the public may not know about that figure or other things? I don't know. So I will reserve my judgment. But on the face of it, it doesn't make sense.
So what I read was that in actual fact, the public sector or the government sector, the number of people they sent was about 150, and the rest were from non-public sector. So I don't know whether they bought their own ticket or
200. No, Dr. Boison, it was 226 that was covered by government.
By government.
226 out of the 322.
Wow.
I mean,
You know, but even
That's a lot.
100, even 100 is ridiculous.
yeah. I mean,
Because
as I said,
really,
Dr. Boise, I have no problems with that. I mean, it's nonsensical. But as I said, has anybody taken the trouble to elicit that information from the right sources as to what may have informed that, rather than saying we are stupid always and saying all these bad things about us? America may be going with 16, but do we know how many Americans are going to be there really?
Really?
Yeah, so these are some of the things you get me. The benefit of, I mean, we being here and looking at what is happening here, and people, I mean, US dollar to America, to Ghana cedi, and the comparison, some of us have just become sad. Because Ghana borrows money, Ghana will pay. America borrows, America prints. let's talk that these are things Ghanaians don't want to hear. UK borrows money, UK prints the pound to pay. These are truths. Why are we running from it? So there are things that the public needs to know, but sometimes it's not popular for those things, those facts to be put in the public domain. But these are the truths that really need to be told. But as I said, let it go. I am concerned about my country.
We'll let it go. We'll let it go. Well, this is
I'm concerned about Ghana. And as far as I'm concerned, Ghanaians and Africans, we don't see anything good about ourselves.
That is a problem.
And we play into the hands of those who don't want to see us developing in any way. If we can't see anything good about ourselves, how can anybody see anything good about us?
That's true. That's true. I mean, in our local parliament, they say you don't use your left hand to point to your village. You have to give respect to it. Well, tonight we are all represented here. And this is the Divine Connection Show. This is where we bring divinity to humanity. But it used to be said that the church and the state should be separated, which I beg to differ. Because to me, we have to be concerned about our nation, our state, whatever we go through, because whatever decisions they make affects us. That is why when they say we have to go and vote, you have to cast your ballot, because whoever goes there makes this decision and it binds you. So we are not going to say we're going to separate the church and the state. We will speak our mind in a polite way, in a humble way, but in a spiritual context, so that at least we are educating our people. That is why on Divine Connection, we try to educate, but then we use the Bible as our principle, but we will not be quiet. We have to say what needs to be said. We are not going to do any insulting here. Pastor Crum, we said earlier on tonight is election night in America, and well, between Democrats and Republicans, anything can happen. What are your fears? What are your expectations? Is there going to be a flip somewhere?
I mean, it's up in the air.
Okay.
I mean, if one follows American politics closely, you realize that midterm elections don't tend to favor the party in power. It's a known thing, and so Democrats being in power is where we suspect the losses will be registered. But let's hope that they are not as great, and maybe it's rather the opposite. Because you look at the happenings, why would a democracy like America rather embark on voter suppression? You getting my point? Rather than voter expansion. What is happening in the system? You getting me? People thinking raw, unfettered capitalism is the way to go. So cut social security. And it's like, what's happening? What's happening? Which party wants unfettered capitalism, the market to dictate things in all cases? And so, and then you have the Trump and his iconoclastic behavior actually being egged on by either the silence of the party that needs to speak or the active encouragement of some people. And then you ask, where is America headed? What are we talking about? Why would a governor embark on purging the voter rolls? What is happening in America? You getting me? Meanwhile, you come to our place and we are looking up to them. And as I said, the last time we saw what happened on January 6, 2021, the last time we saw it in Ghana was 1981. So who should actually be teaching the other? You understand? Here we are, you have an electoral college system where the popular vote does not determine who becomes the president. And we don't see the contradictions. And then, with all our imperfections, the one with the majority share of the popular votes wins. Why can't we celebrate that? Here we are. We don't know what might happen tonight and the days after. When the results start coming in, already some people have said they won't accept the results unless and except when they are the winners.
That's bad.
Can this be said in our country? Is anybody, with all the, call it whatever, who is saying such a thing in our country? So why can't we see the good about us? That's all my issue. With all our problems, these are things we will not do. But here is the most developed nation, and we are seeing all this. Why can't we look at what is wrong and say it's wrong? And tell ourselves we may not have it all together, but at least we are trying.
That's true. We are trying. You are listening to Divine Connection on Facebook, YouTube, and Modern Ghana Radio. I have in the hot seat Nisaba, Reverend Robert Akron, and Uncle Max Baden all the way from Ghana. And I think when we change time now, your time has even gone beyond. It's now, I think, 5 hours. So thank you very much for staying late tonight. Well, the election night will come and go. And of course, life will continue. But then if I want to tell you, if you have a high A1C value or you've been diagnosed as diabetic, you don't want to stay there. You want to make sure you are treating yourself. And there was this clip I played last week that you can get some of this herbal tea. Is being tested, FDA approved in Ghana, that you can take just one sachet, put it in hot water, and drink it, and you'll be fine after every meal. And it's been tested to really, really, really work. So let me just reintroduce you to, and then we'll come back to our study.
This is not your typical tea. The Fumijo Herbal Tea by Glucose Care International is a nutritious drink and a natural blood glucose reducer. Gymnema plant, the active ingredient in the Fumijo Herbal Tea, suppresses the absorption of carbohydrate ingested from your diet. The green tea content in the Fumijo Herbal Tea promotes rejuvenation of dead cells, detoxification of your system, stimulates the pancreas to release insulin, and improves metabolism. Drinking one sachet of Fumijo Herbal Tea after meals prevents the rise in blood sugar levels, suppresses appetite, and improves bowel movement. Drinking Fumijo Herbal Tea regularly after meals can also prevent type 2 diabetes. We encourage you to drink Fumijo Herbal Tea 3 times in a day, coupled with mild exercises to maximize its benefits. Fumijo Herbal Tea has been approved by the FDA. Toxicity test conducted by SGS, so it is safe and non-toxic. a product of Singapore. If you need your herbal tea, your peace of mind is guaranteed. Call our shop now on 0245 810 623 and set your path to good health.
All right, tonight we are just doing a little discussion. We're not doing an interview format that I normally do, but because it's election night, we just want to browse around the fringes. Uncle Max, before I leave the subject of speech, let me ask this question. The vice president had the opportunity to go and represent the president in, I think, one of the festivals in Anlogan or somewhere. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, the Volta region. And in his speech, he was booed, which is kind of a little bit, to me, is disrespectful or whatever it is. What might have caused that? And was that booing warranted?
The reports that I've read, it appears that he was enumerating, he said a number of things for which people clapped and welcomed his input. But then he got onto a list of projects that he claimed the government had delivered. And I think that's where the difficulty arose, because the people he was addressing had not had first-hand experience of these many projects that were being described as having been delivered. So quite possibly they were delivered in other parts of the country. But so far as the people in Anloga were concerned, they had not been delivered to them. So they, I think, were a little bit irritated that the vice president should be talking about things of which they had no experience, as though it was something that was benefiting them, so they should be grateful for that. And I think that's where the difficulty started. So yes, I heard there was some adverse reaction to his speech. How well justified it is, I don't know. But the thing with a democracy is that we are supposed to be tolerant towards criticism and towards people who disagree with our point of view. And I accept that culturally it is difficult for us to entertain those kinds of contradictions. But if democracy is to work in this country, we need to grow our cultural inhibitions past that. And we need to get to a situation where our leaders face people with humility instead of with arrogance, which has been the hallmark of our leaders to date. Our leaders don't want to hear, and you cannot run a democratic establishment without hearing what the people want, preferably on a regular basis rather than every 4 years. You know, we don't think of China as being a democracy, for example, because the West consistently paints it as a communist dictatorship. But in China, they have a regular program of polling people, of interrogating people as to what their issues are, what are their frustrations, what are their hopes and ambitions and aspirations, and so on. And that information gets fed into party policy. So they actually listen to the people. Maybe not all the people all the time, but they listen to the people. And we have not learned to do that in our democratic institutions in this country. Not yet. Something that we really need to get on board.
Well, sir, thank you very much, Uncle Max. Saba, let me come to you and let me go back to the scripture that we are focusing on the 12 spies. The area of teamwork is very important, where people come together, they team up, because they said there's no I in team. So a team actually works. Looking at the 2 and the 10 spies, total of 12 who brought different perspectives. It's all about perception. It depends on how you see it. You know, if somebody's looking at an elephant, maybe they're looking at the size of the ears or whatever. So these guys go to the promised land and they come back with different perspectives. How important is teamwork? And do you think the 12 spies should have actually gathered and here is what we all saw. Let's bring our views together. This is what we're supposed to report to Moses and the people. But instead, we have 2 on one side and 10 on one side. I wouldn't say the 10 gangsters and say, okay, this is what we're going to say, or the 2. It could be it was, an individual or subjective idea. How effective is teamwork in the area of this context?
Thank you, Dr. Boison. It's that test is a bit humbling. Because the question is, what did the 10 see? And what did the 2 see? And you rightly asked, why didn't they come to a consensus as to what to see? It's one of those interesting things, but that is the uniqueness of the Bible for us to see, rather than telling us, the Bible is showing us how people's state of mind can determine a lot of their behavior. I mean, isn't it amazing that only 2 saw beyond the appearance? And isn't it the same thing Ghana is experiencing? All people are seeing are the negatives. And nothing at all will assuage them, sort of. But that's life, you getting me? But you listen to what the 2 said, especially Joshua, who, in addition to narrating the facts, also presented an argument. And the argument went to the substance of the issue at stake. That, listen, these people, it may look like they have everything, but their defense is not there. Why is their defense not there? If they really had a very effective system, they should have determined who we were. How come we've been able to take one of the major resources of the land, cluster of grapes, by a brook? And then you ask, why has the author given us that small fact? Brook is a water source. And so it's one of the major resources of any land. How come there was no defense around such a major resource? So Joshua was putting all these arguments together to present the sort of persuasive answer to the clamoring of the thing. And as I said, that's what we are doing here. In Ghana, that's almost a similar thing. Is it true, as I said, is it true the whole world is facing economic uncertainties? Yes. I mean, look at Britain. What has happened there? How many presidents have they had? I mean, prime ministers have they had in how many years? Why can't we pat ourselves on the back and say, hey, at least if a developed nation like that, such economic turmoil can bring things down, yet in our case, we are holding up. Why can't we celebrate that? You getting me? You can look at what Trump is doing to the legal system of America. One person. Why can't we celebrate our own? You understand? Literally, one person is literally unmaking America and nobody can say anything. We have the opportunity to even hoot at the vice president and there are no repercussions. Why can't we celebrate that? You getting me? So some of us are saying, yes, the problems are there, but are there pointers, indicators of something that could be latched onto to take us to a possible promised land? I'm saying yes. So it's not, Dr. Boison, look at an interesting thing that happened. I don't know if people, there was the Kumiprekun demonstration on Saturday. Ask how many people showed up. Just ask how many people showed up.
I think there was quite a number. I mean, I saw a few on the TV.
Why isn't it being given the sort of press?
Publicity.
Yeah. So we are looking at these are indicators. People are trying to think through issues. You getting me? So for me, that's something I would like to celebrate than condemn. Yes, this government is not doing well. It's not doing well. Not by any stretch of the imagination. They are not doing well. You understand? But can we celebrate that which is worthy of celebration and condemn that which is worthy of condemnation? Why are we conflating everything and condemning everything?
Uncle Max, you want to come in?
Yeah, I want to come in. I have to protest because I don't think everything that comes out of Ghana is negative. And we are not conflating the two. I think, as you have pointed out, people are starting to think, and we are very, very discerning. So we criticize where criticism is due. And unfortunately, there's a lot of criticism that is due at the moment. But people are also going about their lives. And if you consider that we are not seeing an exodus of economic refugees, white people are still coming in and setting up business here and so on. I'm still here. I'm still in Ghana. I'm not going to have any plans to go anywhere anytime soon. It is because there are some of us who see the possibility and the potential. And we have faith that it will be well if we all just keep brightening our little corner. So if you look at the Ghanaian media, you see a lot of humor that is emerging since the president's last comment about Sikam Pedede. So people are making songs, they are doing videos and so on and so forth on that topic. Yeah. And this is part of our natural exuberance and ebullience and our natural national hope that tomorrow may be a better day, even though today we are struggling. So no, I don't think everything is doom and gloom. Otherwise, people will be flying out of the country. They're not. They're staying because they are hoping for a better tomorrow, and they're working towards a better tomorrow, some of them. Our only challenge is that the government of the day has become deaf. As a former president used to sing, Yenti Obia. When people get into government, it seems that's the mantra they adopt. They don't want to hear anything. They don't want to hear any criticism. They don't want to hear any suggestions of doing things better. You understand? And
Uncle Max, let me finish and let me ask you a quick question here.
About Trump taking over America, nobody can say anything. Well, a similar thing is happening in Ghana, where this particular administration has embarked on a program of state capture, where they're capturing the ports, the air transport system, the energy system, the minerals sector, and others. And this is a takeover of the country, which is deeply, deeply worrying for the continuity of our democratic dispensation. And so people have to talk about it. People have to talk.
No. Uncle Max, let me also come in. As I said, I agree with you. But this is not the first time Ghana, somebody or one group has sought this sort of state capture.
No. This is the first time it's being done on a systematic scale like this across the board.
Well.
All right, let me quote things down. Let me
C'est mon père, ça me fait bien tiens. Tu me fais dire non kotu, era one radio. C'est mon père, tu me fais bien tiens. Tu me fais dire non kotu, era one radio. Oh, and you come to Asam Pamchima, Ekratumchima, Erawan, Yebo Yumpankuma.
All right, it's election night in the United States. This about come to you. It's election night in the United States, and we are discussing leadership in the midst of crisis. Tonight, we are hoping that our people will win and things will, change, or we'll see whether it's going to be the status quo, and also looking at the situation back home in Ghana. Nisaba, you were about to make a point. It's not
Dr. Boison, and as I said, I applaud Uncle Marx. He knows I respect his views a lot. But some of us are coming from that part of the world where we are looking at both worlds. And we are realizing that there is the tendency on the part of where our navels were cut to always shoot things down as much as possible. And it cuts both ways, whether it's NDC or NPP. I remember very well, a whole president said, he was asked, hand over, and he said, hand over to whom? All I'm saying is, this is not the first time. Did it work the first time? It didn't. Did it work the second time? It didn't. So why are we afraid that this time it will work? You getting me? But it is the nature of man to behave in certain selfish ways. You getting me? So it's one of those things I understand. Not long ago, 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago, the same party that is complaining today, they were also being accused of doing similar things. So what that tells me is human nature on display. You getting me?
There's nothing new. There's nothing new under the sun, I suppose.
You get it. So but only I don't want us to end in a place where all the conditions should have been created for somebody like a Rawlings to emerge. Because all of a sudden, you had coup everywhere, as if that is the panacea. You get it? And as I said, Alex Sedbefia, who was the Mohammed's, I think, deputy chief of staff, or later became the chief of staff, saying that processes must be activated to have an immediate election. And nobody is saying anything. Where is it coming from? Is it because somebody else is on the seat? Would he tolerate such a thing if somebody had called for such a thing in his time? So you are looking at the hypocrisy and you're asking, where is this thing coming from? Yeah, it is part of human behavior. When the kitchen is hot, people will complain. If it is too cold, they will complain. And sometimes the sort of temperature that appeals to everybody, you hardly get it. It's one of those things. Let's mature.
All right, let's mature. We'll try and do that. We have to mature. Uncle Max, let me ask you one more question. Maybe I'll do it 2 in 1. Do you believe in the Council of State? Is it working in Ghana? Is the council giving the cabinet the right advice? And would you say the size of the government is too much or is just appropriate?
Okay, to the first question, I think the Council of State is an admirable institution. I don't think it's working, however, because, well, we have a certain phenomenon which some have called the neurology of power. When people get into power, apparently it impacts the brain changes and they become deaf. So they are less open to advice and counsel. So I don't think it's working very well, but I think it's a great institution.
Okay.
As to the second question, I'm afraid we have to bring in some comparisons here to make the point. Okay, because whether we are comparing it with contemporary countries or you're comparing it with Ghana's past, the present size of the administration seems excessive. You know, if there's no business I can think of where you've got a cabinet with 30 people, or I should say a management team or board of directors with 30 people in it and a management team of 120. Those numbers just don't work. And if you have to have that many people in your immediate team and so on, it suggests you don't have a grasp of what is required. Because really, the critical sectors of government are not many. Health, energy, transport, education, security, social welfare, that's about it. Those are the critical levers of the economy. So our first president had a cabinet of about 9 people, something like that, and he was running the country with the same borders. Sure, there were fewer people then, but just because you have more people doesn't mean you have to have more policies. The same policy will work for 100 people as much as well as for 1,000 people, or for 10 million as well as for 30 million, if it's the right policy. You understand? And you don't need 10 people to come up with one policy. So I think we do need to cut our coat according to our cloth. And this profligacy of expenditure, because we have got so many more ministers. I mean, another example is bringing in 6 extra regions. What for? You now have 6 extra regional administrations, but the same number of people being catered for.
All right. I wanted to be fair to you on the. I think I cut you when you were on the COP27. I want to be fair to you. 30 seconds. You were saying the number that they took were too many. Just respond to it, and I'll let Mr. Ban speak.
Well, again, if you look at the environment, there are the number of sectors that are impacted or have influence on the environment, again, are very few. So you only need representatives from those sectors.
For the climate change.
Private sector wants to send 200 people and they're paying for it. That's their palaver. But government should have clarity of focus. Ministry for the Environment, Science, Technology, yes. Land and Forestry, yes. Transport, yes. What else? Ministry of Energy, yes.
All under the climate change. That's what the conference is all about. All right, Nisaba, do you want to respond before we have five?
Oh yeah, I want to respond. Oh yes. I mean, I don't want us. Yeah, Uncle Mas cited Nkrumah, lovely Nkrumah, but Nkrumah at the peak had maximum 6 million people. 6 million.
That's the population of the country. That's what you mean.
Yes, at its peak, when Nkrumah was in power. This is one of the things we don't want to talk about. Yes, but you see, Dr. Boison, just 2018 to today, Ghana has gained over 4 million people.
Oh, the men are active.
Yeah, Dr. Boy, these are hard facts. And you see, bring it to the US, the developed country, and then you see, not Uncle Max, but in a very interesting environment made up of professors and this issue came up, and I'm citing it to buttress a point. Dr. Boison, somebody said, how come Ghana we have America has only 9 Supreme Court justices, and Ghana we have 18, and blah 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 blah. So me and my big mouth, I said, every state in America has a Supreme Court. Every state. In addition to the federal Supreme Court. Every state. And every state Supreme Court has at least 5 people. At least 5 Supreme Court justices. And so when we are comparing, when we are saying certain things, let's look at the details. What is hidden in the numbers? These are some of the, you getting me? I am not holding brief for this seemingly failure-prone Akufo-Addo government. But Dr. Boison, tell me, if in less than 4 years, you have an additional 4 million people to factor into your policy decisions, whereas you go to certain places you call developed, they are actually losing population. So the comparisons, we must do them very carefully.
Appropriately.
You get it very, very, very carefully. These are some of, for me, these are the worries.
So Ghana is like the Israelites. Even in the midst of crisis, we are still populating.
Because, Dr. Boison, the reports are there. It's only in sub-Saharan Africa that women are able to give birth to 3 and upwards children. The rest of the world, including both China and India, the women cannot go beyond 2. You understand? So you are dealing with certain dynamics that are, permit me to say, are unprecedented in at least contemporary human experience. I don't remember a time from the history books that I've read that the world went through such a system. But we are experiencing it. Are you getting me? So these are things that force a different kind of conversation. We can't use the old models to make our arguments. America itself, with 300 and what, they didn't experience 4 million people in 4 years. So let's sit back and begin to probe the issues carefully and see the problems and their hydra-headedness.
All right, I think we are about run out of time, and I think Uncle Max wants to make a point. All right, go ahead, Uncle Max.
Pastor Akron, I don't disagree that we have an expanding population, and it's been expanding since Nkrumah's time. But if we are doing our work well, we will plan for that expansion. Businesses plan for growth. I don't see why countries cannot plan for growth within their policy formulation. So just because a country is growing and we've had 4 million more people, the fact that we may not be ready for them is an indictment on our abilities or the discharge of our duties to not have planned for that. Because the population growth figures are available. Anybody can project them. You understand? And these are things we should take into account.
Then indict America also, indict Britain also, indict Germany also, indict Italy also, indict France also, indict Spain also. This, if you want to indict them because these countries are experiencing this.
Well, I'm indicting the human race in that. Then that's
fine. Then you begin to realize, Uncle Mark,
our focus,
this has dimensions.
Our focus is Ghana. Our focus today is Ghana.
But we can't, because we use comparisons. Our focus will be Ghana, but we are part of a global system. And you are realizing that this thing cuts across. And the so-called developed countries don't even have the solutions.
All right, gentlemen, tonight.
All of a sudden, Republicans with their whatever are almost poised to take over in America as we speak.
All right, gentlemen, I think we are going over our time. Tonight, as we realize, we decided to mix things up and just, pull in a little bit of politics. After all, we are all, in one entity. Spiritual and physical should not be separate. So we're trying to bring divinity into our human life by inculcating what happens around us so we can be well informed and live in a better way. Well, gentlemen, I think I'm 3 minutes over the time, but I'll beg Dr. Ostus to give me. Let me hear your closing remarks because I know you are all pumped out. Uncle Mas, go with your closing remarks. 45 seconds.
Okay. Leadership, is to do with making choices and leading the way. Okay. Now, you ask the question, what should a leader say? And one of the answers to that is that leader has to be aware that there are always three constituencies. There are those who are against, there are those who are for, and there are those who are not sure. And the leader's job is to craft a message to go to each of those constituencies so that they get on board and there is consensus in the team going forward. Because there are always three possibilities: retreat, stay where you are, or move forward. And this is what the Israelites failed to do when they went on their spying mission. They failed to address the negativities and the positivities and the neutrals to get onto one consensus. So maybe this is something we should address next time. And there's also the different dimensions that people come with: spiritual, mental, attitudinal. And you have to address all of those really to get people on the same page.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Nisaba, you want to follow up?
I think this has been a very fruitful discussion.
Thank you.
I'm very hopeful that Ghana will come through, Africa will come through, the world will come through. This is something that is the human experience tells us that we go through our highs and lows. You getting me? Only that whether we learn from them is another thing. And some of us are worried is that we become so despondent by our utterances that we will forget that we've been there before and the result was nothing to write. Was nothing that anybody will say something positive about. We ended up with somebody who took advantage of a similar situation, uncertainties or what have you, promised high heaven, killed some people for it, and then when he failed and failed miserably, he covered himself in indemnity clauses and transitional provisions. History is a guide.
All right, thank you very much, Nisama. Yeah, I don't want to go there again. Thank you very much. But it's been I think I concur. It's been a very fruitful discussion. We don't always have to just go with the spirit and just stand there. We have to blend it. We have to add our contemporary issues and solve them. We don't have to run away from problems. So this has been a very fruitful discussion. And thank you, gentlemen, for, once again, availing yourself to spend over an hour with this discussion. I know it's very hot in America tonight. We are all going to look at the results and see how the votes are coming in. Uncle Max, I apologize for letting you stay beyond your, I know it's almost midnight in Ghana because of the time change, but thank you very much. I don't take your kindness and your intellect for granted at all. Thank you for staying up and blessing us in your knowledge. Nisaba, as usual, thank you very much for all of you. Era One continues to be a 24/7 radio station. We broadcast live on Facebook and YouTube. Please go to Play Store, Google Store, download the app. Anytime we are on, you will have us. Go and download the program. Go to Facebook and replay this clip because we are trying to, educate ourselves. There's so many things we learned when we were babies and children, and realize that some of them were not helping us. So we have to unlearn some of them and learn new things. We are in a IT world. We have to go with what is flowing now. So we realize that we don't have to just recline ourselves to just the spiritual. We have to add what is going on around us. Speak to our leaders. I believe if any of our leaders are listening to us tonight, they will also take something as a cue and move on. Thank you very much. Until I think Thursday we'll be back to take on our investment. There's still more meat to glean from there. So I'll see you guys on Thursday. Have a blessed evening and continue being what God has ordained me to be. Have a good night and thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Boison.
You're welcome, sir.
They are 4 women. They are beautiful with brains. They are eloquent, decent, wise, and experienced. You have heard many, the funny. Now, it's time to hear the experience and the brainy. Meet Selena, Dorcas, Gifty, and Annette as they present the real in common getting. In common biaye sesi chain, the dead, as in takre no assume the dead, the real in common getting. Showing live this and every Sunday, 7 p.m. on Era One Radio on Facebook and on YouTube, Era One Radio and on Taibo channel. Kaise, so we see the real in common getting ya. What brabon tete, we nyan konsa, we the real in common getting.
So when you one kind of some, they might put you some cacre or supplement. Yo, oh my woman, oh my mama, can you baby? What's out? What's some, one in your pa, as I did power of you. Yamo Ember, Mama.